Hey everybody, Matt here. This is going to be the next video in the series of videos I'm doing on the basics of buying or building an AR-15 rifle. As you can see, we've got 3 bolt carrier groups here, so this is going to be the episode on bolt carrier groups. I do want to point out, guys, in my opinion, the bolt carrier group, along with your barrel, is the heart of your rifle. Okay, those are the 2 most important components of your AR rifle. That's where you should spend your time, your effort, and your money, is on ensuring that you got a good barrel and a good bolt carrier group. Okay. So let's just jump right in. First, like I said, we've got 3 examples of bolt carrier groups here. These 2 are pretty much identical. We've got a Olmito State Armory and a Spikes Tactical. And this one's a little different. This is a Wilson. And I'll show you the differences on that here in just a little bit. The first thing you want to check when trying to make a decision on what AR, bolt carrier group to go with is you want to check and see if it is HPT and MPI tested. Now what that means, HPT stands for high pressure tested, MPI stands for magnetic particle inspected. Basically, these are just 2 tests that they put bolt carrier groups through, and barrels as well, to check for things like cracks and hairline fractures, anything in the bolt that could cause a failure. Okay, it is a good thing. You want to look for bolts that are HPT and MPI tested. Now, most bolts nowadays are HPT or MPI tested in some way or another. Some are batch tested. Now, what batch testing means is, let's say for this particular company, a batch is 100 bolt carrier groups. So what they do is they produce 100 bolt carrier groups, and then they randomly pick one out of that batch and test it. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not as good as them individually testing every single bolt carrier group. Companies like Olmito State Armory and Spikes Tactical, Daniel Defense, the list goes on and on and on, are companies that test every individual bolt carrier group. Okay, that's a good thing. Okay, that's what you want to go with, especially when you're looking at something like a Spikes Tactical here. It costs $109 shipped from AIM Surplus, if you can get it in stock, that is. And price-wise, it's no different than something that may be batch tested. So why not just go ahead and get one that you know is going to be individually tested? Next thing you want to check for, and this can be hard if you're ordering online, okay? So you have to go by reputation of the company. But you want to check for proper staking on the gas key. Now, for those of you who don't understand, or just a first AR build or anything like that, this is your gas key right here, sits on top of the bolt carrier group. It is not attached permanently to the bolt carrier body. Okay, it is bolted on with 2 hex bolts. What your gas key does is it connects to your gas tube coming from your barrel that comes into the receiver. It comes into contact right here, blows all the gas into your gas key, and your gas key cycles your bolt back and forth. Okay, now what that does is that puts a lot of pressure on these 2 bolts right here, because you've got a lot of pressure pushing this bolt back and forth. Okay, so what they do is they stake these. They take a punch and they punch each side, okay, to basically push in on the bolt head right there to keep it from backing out, to keep it from turning. So that keeps it in there properly, because if this gas key pops off, your rifle stops working. Okay, you've basically gone to a single shot rifle essentially. And I know because I've had it happen with this one here. This one was not staked properly, and I had to go back and restake it myself. So keep that in mind, guys. That is something very important. Now let's talk about what MilSpec is for a bolt carrier group. MilSpec is basically this: Carpenter 158 steel, shot peen, gas key is secured with grade 8 fasteners. That's these. Chrome lined and parkerized. Now there are other coatings out there. There's melanite. There's full chrome lined. Chrome coated. There's fail zero. But parkerized is by far the most common, and it's the one most people use, and it is MilSpec. Now, I mentioned chrome line there as far as that's MilSpec. And what I mean by chrome line is I mean the interior of the bolt is chrome line. And I'm actually going to show you what that means. And the reason I'm going to show you this is because you need to understand that some companies advertise chrome lining, okay, and some companies don't. But the industry standard is very much that all bolt carrier groups are chrome lined. So just because it doesn't say chrome line doesn't mean that it's not chrome line. So keep that in mind when you're buying. Real quick, we'll do this simply on the bolt carrier group here. I just popped that retaining pin out right here. You just take a pin. I mean, literally, doesn't take anything. Pop that little retaining pin out right there. Okay. Then your firing pin drops out. Then from here, you got your little bolt there. You're gonna turn that to the side and pull it out, and then your bolt comes right out. And that's your actual bolt right there with your extractor and everything. Okay. What chrome lining means is in here, okay, inside where your bolt sits, and inside the gas key are chrome lined on the interior, because those are two areas that they need to stay clean and that have a lot of fouling and dirt can get in there. So the fact that those areas are chrome lined really helps the rifle to run better. Now that is no substitute for proper oiling. Obviously, you want to, these guns love to run wet, so you want to make sure they're properly oiled. But that's what it means by chrome lining. Like I said, I am not currently aware of any bolt carrier groups currently on the market right now that are not chrome lined in those areas. So keep that in mind, guys. Just because it doesn't say chrome line doesn't mean it's not. Almost all of them are. Okay. And last, we want to talk about the difference between an AR15 bolt and an M16 bolt. Okay. Now there are actually three kinds of bolts when it comes to the AR15 or M16. There's also AR15 Enhanced. I give a little shout out to DocTac Dad. He's the one that pointed that out to me. But the two most common are your M16. Okay, this is an M16 bolt, and how you can tell is here at the back you've got your big chunk of steel right here that goes into your buffer, and it's even on the top and the bottom here. You can see it goes up this far on the top and this far on the bottom. An AR15 bolt, however, okay, see the difference? Comes this far on the top just like the other one does, but only to back here on the bottom. Okay. That cuts down, saves weight, saves time, saves energy, saves money, blah, 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 right? Is one better than the other? Well, yes. Okay, technically an M16 bolt is better, okay? It's heavier, it adds more weight, it slows down the rate of fire, it functions more evenly, it's more consistent in its rate of fire, in you know, how it goes into your buffer tube. It's more... less wear and tear on the internal parts of your gun. That being said, most of your average range shooters are never going to notice the difference between these two. Okay, most of your average range shooters. If you're a heavy shooter, why not? But here's the deal: these things pretty much cost the same. Okay, like I said, I got a Spikes Tactical M16 bolt carrier group for 109 shipped. Okay, at AIM Surplus. This one here cost about 100 to 110 bucks too. Okay, so for the price difference, why not just go ahead and get an M16 bolt carrier group? There's really no reason not to get one. Does that mean if you already have one of these that, oh, you're just, oh, too bad, you better go buy a new bolt carrier group? No, of course not. They still function, they still work. It's just these are a little bit of an upgrade. So that's pretty much it, guys. There are obviously some customizations out there on your bolt, different O-rings, different tension springs on your extractor and things like that. Those are things I consider more custom. Okay, and things you can look into, so I'm not really talking about those because most of your bolt carrier groups don't come stock like that. Those are upgrades and things you can get. You can go to Brownells and get different springs and O-rings to put on your bolt, and that's great. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's the basics of bolt carrier groups for the AR-15. So anyway, questions, comments, video responses, send them my way. Hope it helps somebody out, and we'll talk to you later, guys. Thanks.